Fox 43's Health Smart aims to keep your health interests in mind to keep you living your best life. I'm Amy Lutz, and we appreciate you joining us for this special show where we revisit some of those most notable health stories from throughout the year. One topic I cover a lot of in my weekly segments is depression and anxiety. Since the pandemic, the numbers of people suffering has skyrocketed. Experts say for 2 out of every 3 people with depression, the first antidepressant they're prescribed doesn't work. But what if you knew which medicines would work best for you, specifically based on your genes? I took a look at one company's DNA test that claims to be able to do just that.
And we just do one side here and one side there.
A simple cheek swab claims to give patients an individualized look at which medications are best suited for their mental health based on their DNA.
There may be an issue where genetically their body is not clinically responding. They can be a hypermetabolizer or undermetabolizing, or maybe that drug just isn't right for them.
Dr. Teresa Burek uses the GeneSight test at her Mechanicsburg practice to help patients like Abby Emoden. She has struggled with anxiety and depression for as long as she can remember.
All of the drugs that I had tried in the past were not a good fit for my DNA.
Abby's swab was sent to a lab where a computer analyzed her DNA and created a list of which medications are best for her.
As you can see, green, yellow, and red.
Every single medicine that she had tried before was on the no-no list.
It showed only 2 medications being a proper fit to treat her condition, neither of which she had tried.
You feel like you have hope. You don't feel hopeless anymore.
Dr. Burek says tests like GeneSight are important because with each medication a patient tries that doesn't work, their chance for remission goes down significantly.
It may really change the life and the course of somebody's depression if we at least know how to manage it.
After trying one of the 2 medications on the list, Abby says she's gotten her life back.
It went really well. I had virtually no side effects that I could think of.
The FDA has not yet approved GeneSight, but Dr. Burek says the proof is in her patients.
The results have been amazing, and really not only life-altering, but life-saving.
And Abby agrees.
I am at my best that I've been in a long time, and I'm so thankful. So thankful.
Now, Dr. Burek said Medicare covers the cost of GeneSight, and most private insurances cover some of the cost as well. Well, depression can be so severe that it can become life-threatening. A newer, non-invasive treatment called TMS Therapy is now offering hope for people who suffer. The tapping of this machine has the power to tap into someone's brain to treat depression. Just ask 25-year-old Sierra Johnson.
I have been dealing with depression since I was 11, and I was officially diagnosed with it when I was 12. I felt very lonely. I was ashamed of the depression. I felt really sheltered, and I just wanted to keep myself isolated from everyone and everything as a kid.
After years of trying medications with no success, she heard about TMS.
When they first described it to me, I was like, this sounds so scary. But it's really not, because you're sitting in a chair, you're not strapped to the chair, there's no intimidating room, it's very comfortable.
The FDA approved transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS, in 2008 for the treatment of severe depression.
It's good for people that have usually tried antidepressants and have not been successful with them.
Dr. Ken Rogers says a magnetic pulse stimulates brain tissue that's underperforming. In other words, brain cells that have been sleeping are awakened, which in turn boosts chemicals that are deficient in the brain, like serotonin or dopamine.
And so the goal is that over time, those areas being stimulated more allows the depression to actually lift.
Patients go 5 days a week for sessions that are less than 20 minutes, and thanks to minimal side effects, they can even drive themselves.
You do that for, several weeks, and then you're usually feeling better about 83% of the time.
Something Sierra definitely experienced.
My attitude has improved. My relationships have improved. My sleep has improved. I'm more in touch with my emotions.
allowing her to tap into a whole new world of freedom.
I'm able to go out in public in big crowds and not be nervous. I'm able to actually enjoy daily activities. So it's really improved my life, and I never thought it would, but it did.
Most insurances do cover this treatment, but for more information, I've put a link to WellSpan on our website, fox43.com. If you are more anxious than depressed, there may be an app that can help you. Actually, there are dozens of them that claim to track it. Fox 43 looked into how they work and if they're worth trying. If you type the word anxiety in the App Store on your smart device, you'll find a plethora of apps claiming to be able to help track your anxiety.
It's cool because some of these apps provide strategies right built in with it. So when you do see this data and this information, they can help you through guided meditations. They can teach you breathing exercises and techniques.
Liz Rhyme is a life coach and wellness expert, and we had her try out one of the apps to see if she felt it could actually help people.
So what it did is it used my Apple Watch to track my heart rate, and it also asked me questions throughout the day to kind of track my mental state. And then it provided tools to kind of increase my mindfulness around things, as well as to calm down if it noticed that it was heightened.
By telling you how anxious you are throughout the day, the apps can help you understand what in your environment triggers your anxiety. Most of them work the same. They offer you a chance to keep a diary, choose the things you want to track. You can even set up reminders and create a goal. Unfortunately, most of them do have in-app fees. Liz says it's a small price to pay, though, if it helps.
I think it can be really useful. I found it funny. I actually used mine during the week of Christmas, and it showed my highest state of stress was actually the Friday night before, where I was out finishing my Christmas shopping and getting everything ready. And then my lowest, my calmest state was actually the morning of Christmas at the time that I was having Christmas brunch with my family. So it was pretty accurate actually in like my heightened states versus my calm states.
Liz says it's also important to know when it may be time to see a professional versus trying one of these apps.
So anytime you begin to see it impeding your daily functioning, whether that's creating so much heightened anxiety that you cannot go to work, or you're struggling to parent or interact with a partner or a friend, anything, and then again, the physical symptoms, if you're noticing a lot of digestive issues or sleep disturbances, those kinds of things where you all of a sudden now, where you could function pretty normally, you're seeing it's really starting to cause problems.
Well, something that can increase depression and anxiety for many people is weight gain. A shot being called the biggest advancement in weight loss treatment is now being offered in Central PA. So we took a look at the drug to see if it's really worth all the hype.
I've been getting a lot of questions about semaglutide.
It's a craze making its way around the country. A drug developed to treat diabetes is now being manufactured to address only weight loss.
They're drawing it out of a bottle like, say, someone would insulin.
Dr. William Carter, the owner of a Lancaster County medical spa, says this tiny bottle of semaglutide can create big changes. So big, diabetics were having a hard time getting their medications until pharmacies stepped in.
We're getting our medication compounded by legitimate pharmacies that are starting with the raw material. We are not shortchanging the diabetic world because those people are getting the brand name products and we're not tipping into that pool. So we're not drawing from that medication supply.
Vicki Briner works at Dr. Carter's office.
I guess my favorite part's losing 13 pounds in 4 weeks.
She struggled to lose weight, so when she heard about semaglutide in the office, she decided to give it a shot. 4, actually, each month, and increasing the dosage until she reaches her desired weight.
It just feels good. I feel like I'll be healthier. My clothes are starting to fit again. This shirt was really tight on me last summer, but now I got all this space.
Semaglutide works by curbing your appetite and can even make cravings disappear.
Over the weekend, I ate a grilled chicken wrap, and I only ate like half of the half, and I was full.
Side effects can range from nausea and migraines to constipation. For Briner, they've been minor.
Then I get a little bit of a stomach ache, but it's nothing major. If you get heartburn normally, like I do, I can, The foods that affect you there are going to affect you with this. You just have to eat healthier.
Dr. Carter says learning proper nutrition will help your weight loss results last longer once you stop taking the medication.
It may be unreasonable to think that everybody's going to be able to come off the medication and maintain their weight. It is a chronic condition.
Dr. Carter said people with a BMI between 24 and 27 who do not have serious health issues qualify for the treatment. The cost depends on where you go, but it runs between $500 and $700 a month. Well, hair loss is common in both men and women, and it can definitely impact someone's mental health. People are seeing some promising results through the use of an old medication in a new way.
I'm going to pick this up a second and just show you.
Debbie Buda has struggled with hair loss for many years. She heard about oral minoxidil for hair loss from an article her husband found in the New York Times, and she knew she had to give it a try.
People, like they always said, a woman's hair is her crown and glory. And when it looks like mine looked before and I had to have the wigs on all the time, it was just painful for me.
We first talked to Debbie 6 months ago in October when her hair looked like this. And this is what her hair looks like now.
I said to my husband, at the risk of sounding vain, my hair looks so good.
Minoxidil, otherwise known as Rogaine, has been used for some time as a cream, liquid, and shampoo to encourage hair growth. It was originally a drug to treat hypertension, and when researchers realized patients were growing hair all over their body, they decided to channel it into a hair loss treatment.
And I had a lot of patients grow their hair back on this medication, so I'm very familiar with it, and I really think it works.
Dr. Ruth Williams says the medication is typically well tolerated by her patients with very few side effects, and it's even affordable to purchase. Debbie says it's worth every penny.
My daughter, everybody's like so thrilled, and nobody can believe the difference.
The FDA has not approved the pill form of minoxidil for hair loss, but Dr. Williams thinks that we will see it in the near future. While other people suffering from hair loss are finding luck using an old medication to treat something else in a new way. If you ever tried this, dermatologists say you may instead want to try this. Minoxidil, otherwise known as Rogaine, has been used for some time as a cream and shampoo to encourage hair growth.
It was discovered multiple decades ago where they were using it as a treatment for hypertension. And they realized that the patients that were given it to started growing hair all over their body. So they decided to channel it into a hair loss treatment.
Within the past 5 years, though, an off-label pill form entered the market, and dermatologist Ruth Williams of WellSpan says it's shown even better results.
And I had a lot of patients grow their hair back on these medications. The dose that we use is so well tolerated and it's a very cheap medication. So I think if you're not responding to a topical medication, you should think about it.
The most common side effect has been hair growing on other parts of the body, something that does not worry Debbie Buda. The 69-year-old said she's tried everything to treat her hair loss and was not a fan of the liquid version.
I am ready, willing, and able. And I don't care if I get a mustache, a beard, sideburns. I got a razor blade and I got wax.
Debbie's entering her second month of treatment, and while excited and hopeful, Dr. Williams says patients must have patience.
As you know, hair doesn't go really quickly, so you have to give it time to work. It can take up to 6 months to see any results.
The FDA has not approved the pill form of minoxidil for hair loss, but Dr. Williams believes that it will be in the future thanks to the positive results from multiple national studies. More information can be found on our website, fox43.com. A lack of sleep can cause all sorts of problems, and between 50 and 70 million adults in our country have a sleep disorder. One of the most common issues is sleep apnea, and there's now an FDA-approved treatment that's offering patients the hope of getting a full night's sleep. For some, snoring can be perfectly normal. For others, like Scott Yuha, it meant he was struggling to breathe due to severe obstructive sleep apnea.
There was a long period of time where I thought that the rest of the world felt the way I did. You know, we've got children, they're up in the middle of the night, we work hard, we're just all tired. Everybody's tired.
Yuha was diagnosed with severe sleep apnea in 2006.
It got to a point where I would be in the middle of a conversation with my wife and I would start to fall asleep.
The Mechanicsburg resident tried nearly everything, including a CPAP machine.
The mask itself was uncomfortable, would wake me up.
Knowing how dangerous sleep apnea can be, Scott went to see Dr. John Levry at UPMC.
If left unchecked for 20, 30, 40 years, can cause things like strokes, heart attacks, atrial fibrillation.
He told Scott about an FDA-approved treatment called Inspire Upper Airway Stimulation. The device is fully implanted into a patient's chest, and it works by delivering mild stimulation to keep a patient's airway open.
Is it sensing when you breathe in, sending a signal from the device up to the nerve that controls the motor function of the tongue.
Its portability, one of Scott's favorite things about it.
And I mean, the footprint is so small. That's it.
Other than helping him snore no more.
We're having a lot of success with getting these patients on some therapy they can actually use.
Inspire Therapy is not for everyone. To qualify, a patient must be at least 18 years old and diagnosed with moderate to severe obstructive sleep apnea. They also need to prove that they're unable to use or get consistent help from a CPAP machine. Well, if you have a health topic that you would like to know more about, you can always email me at alutz@fox43.com. Thank you so much for spending some of your time with us. I'm Amy Lutz. Have a great day.